Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 195. We are closing in quickly on episode 200. I know your excitement is as big as mine, no doubt. And Ron is here with me again.
Hello again.
He is now officially my co-host, pretty much.
Yep.
And we are having a wine again. That seems to be cheers. Our other co-host, I don't know. It's becoming a theme. To be honest, we rarely drink, do we?
No, we don't. We maybe once a month if we're looking.
Yeah. But
and then we get an idea in our head to do a podcast. What can go wrong?
Yeah, so here we are, and yes, I am sounding happier, and things are getting better. And we are here to tell you today about what I don't even know how to word it. I should have maybe planned it. I should have written notes.
We have come up with a challenge for Isobel to do, both to focus her mind and her body.
Mm-hmm. Because I'm one of those people. I need something. I can't. I personally, Ron can.
No,
I can't. But I personally need something to train for, or else I kind of don't. For me, there's not a lot of point in training.
We've spoken quite a lot about this. One of the things that
frustrates me about wrestling.
Frustrates. Well, it frustrates, but it is what it is.
You as well, really.
We are very different people in terms of what motivates and what drives us. I'm way more relaxed in how I approach things. I'm happy just to go with the flow. I run because I like to run. I don't need a focus. I don't need a goal. I just like to run. Whereas Isobel is very focused and very goal-driven and needs a goal, needs something to focus her training on. And, there's no right or wrong way. You are what you are. And
it's funny because I grew up as being incredibly non-competitive. I hated sport. Didn't do it, wagged every PE lesson that I could.
Don't let our students find that
out. Well, they know from the things I've said. I was totally not competitive. Then I got into mountain biking, and I wasn't as competitive as I became with running. I think basically because mountain biking was a bit scary as well, quite frankly. And then when I had my bad accident, then that kind of put me off. But, when I did bodybuilding, and I didn't just do bodybuilding because I wanted to do it, I had to get competitive. Like everything I do seems to become competitive. And what I have been struggling with is, being older and not as competitive now. And it will happen to everybody. You young'uns who are listening, good on you. Enjoy this moment because it doesn't last forever. Sadly, but we all age and we all go through different stages, and it's not just the age for me, because I know there's plenty of people my age who run quite fast. I think it's also the wear and tear of those really big long runs that I've put on my body. And as tough as I am, my body is still a human body. So that's also been my struggle, is what can I do that fulfills my competitive need and drive, in spite of the fact that I'm not particularly competitive anymore.
Yeah.
And that's why I came up with this challenge. Now, let me just sort of talk you through how I got to this challenge, because even you don't really fully know. I just suddenly said I've come up with something.
Sprung it on me.
Yes. And I was talking to one of my clients. Should I say his name? Do you think that'll be okay?
Yeah.
He won't mind.
No.
John Thomas. And he was talking about his partner had said, after they listened to my podcast, when we're having a little bit of a moment, I like to call it that instead of a breakdown, a little bit of a moment. And he was saying his partner knew of this business coach who talked about things, and that it's not just, your goals. You can have goals and you can lose a goal, but it's having that vision. And the vision is the overarching thing, as opposed to just the goal. The goals lead you to that vision, or a part of that vision. They are, what's the word I'm looking for? They support that vision, right? And that's when I went, I really like that. That's such a good point. And so then I thought, what is my vision? What is it, because the Tour de Géant was a goal. But what is my overarching vision? What is it I'm wanting to get out of doing these races? And why am I doing this? And I thought, well, the overarching vision is to challenge myself and push my body and see what I can achieve, especially as someone in her 50s, and, not physically really in your prime anymore. That's more your 30s. So what can I do that's a really good challenge, that's really tough, that, anyone of any age would find really hard? That's my overall vision. So, and also my overall vision is to show what older people can do, particularly women, obviously, because I'm female. But to show that, just because you're in your 50 doesn't mean you have to sit around and drink wine while she takes another sip. Oh, sorry, great listening there. So, that's what my vision is, to show. And just doing another race, it doesn't show. Yeah, sure, I've done 100 miles, I've done 290 Ks. It's kind of like, what else is there? So that's when I came up with my 12 in 12.
Yes.
And do you want to explain what that is?
So what is 12 in 12? Some people might think 12 marathons in 12 months. 12 months is a big deal. And it is, absolutely it is for some people. But what Isobel has decided to do is 12 100-kilometre races in 12 months.
And approximately 100, because some races are a little bit more.
Yeah. So what that means is we're sticking to a calendar. So we're not necessarily sticking to a month between each race, because that's not
necessarily going to happen.
It's not possible, because race
directors don't
seem to think in terms of that. So what it means is, as per a calendar month, Isobel is going to race a 100-kilometre race every calendar month for the next 12 months.
And so there might be 1 week between, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
There might be 6 weeks between, because if I do one at the beginning of the month and then the middle of the month,
yes.
Yep.
And
we were, when I came up with my idea, and Ron said, yep, that sounds good, because, it's not like I need Ron's permission at all, but I need Ron to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Supportive, yeah. More than that, like invested in it as well, because it means work for Ron. Like he may race some of them with me, not all of them. He's not stupid like me.
Definitely not racing all of them. I can guarantee you that. This is Isobel's challenge, not Ron's challenge.
But he will be, he has to crew me. He has to support me. He has to come and stay with, take some days off work when, they start on a Friday, and so on and so forth. So I need, like you do with your own partner, you don't just go, this is what I'm doing, F you, I'm doing it. It's something I had to consider Ron's, needs to. Luckily,
I'm always up for a challenge, especially when it's Isobel's challenge.
Yes, especially when you don't have to do all the running.
That's right.
So, and then, that is why you may have seen that post where I put, what are some 100Ks? Because, I Googled 100K races, and, oh, my God, it came up with, it only shows ultra races. And I knew there was more than what it was showing. And some of what people suggested, I had seen, some I hadn't. But then I can say more names, can't I? David Benny said, oh, you should join us for Oxfam.
Now, just
we were planning to start in June.
Yes, we'd spoken about it. Training hasn't been the best lately
because of my surgery issues, recovering from coast to coast, and just generally it all led to me just generally having a bit of a physical down time. It's not been good.
While in most people's estimates, Isobel has still been doing 70 to 80 Ks a week, which is fine by some people's standards, but by Isobel's standards, that's well down.
Yeah, my sweet spot is 120 Ks a week. So for me, and I did take some complete time off, although it may not show that because I ended up sweeping but and I'm feeling a lot better. I'm still not 100%. So we were thinking we'll start in June because 100K is a long way, regardless of how fit you are and how many races you've done before. You still have to respect the distance. But that's when David Benny said, "Did you want to join us?"
I got a message saying, "I
need
some people for his team for Oxfam for the trail walker."
And I have never done Oxfam because I've always been worried about being in a team. Flashbacks to high school, and getting picked last for everything, and being the Gumby that lets everybody down, and everyone goes, "Oh fuck, we don't want Isobel on our team." Oh God. You know, so you never had that problem.
No,
so you would not understand. No. It's terrible in high school when I see the poor kids getting picked last. Oh my God, my heart bleeds because I was that person when everyone would go, "No, you have her. No, you have her." All right, we'll have Isobel. You laugh. It was devastating. But I knew my place. Hence why I wagged, because that was better than having to deal with that emotional trauma. So where was I going other than whinging?
So as far as joining a team,
yes, I have never joined a team before because I'm always scared I will let the team down in some way, shape, or form. And that is a real huge, and I know it will become more stressful the closer we get to it. It's going to create very stressful feelings in me, but that's okay. Because we've spoken about it with the team members and they're, you know, okay, because I'm not feeling 100% fit. So that's what I'm worried about. If I was at full fitness, I wouldn't be as worried. I'd still be worried because I just get that feeling of being in teams. And I've always vowed I'd never be in another team again.
Ultimately, the goal time and the terrain are not outrageous, you know, compared to what you've done before, what we've done in training, all that sort of stuff. They're well within our capabilities, but you still stress because that's what you do.
yes. And So then we had to look for 100K for April. Now the thing with April is,
so just double coming back to that. Trail Walker is in 2 weeks.
Yes, 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah. So going from starting in June and training up to that.
And my longest run before then was like 20K.
Yes. So now we're starting in 2 weeks.
Bit of panic training going on.
Yes. So needless to say, this week was our longest training week.
Yes. Got up to 100. And I got up to 109 Ks. Woo.
The week.
Yeah, which used to be nothing.
That was a short week.
Yeah. So so that's the 24th of March, which is in 2 weeks, a little bit less when you listen to this. And then so then we went, well, we're not starting in June, we better start looking at races coming up. So we look at April. There's Easter in the middle, so there won't be races over the Easter long weekend. And then 2 weeks after that, we get married.
Yeah.
So then
it needs to fit in with that. Then we're going away for a week. So, you know.
On the following weekend, I'm doing an event at Lake Mountain. So we basically had 2 weekends, the beginning of April and the third weekend of April. The third weekend of April, there was nothing. So the beginning of April it is, which is 1 week after Trail Walker.
Nice.
And it will be vastly different from Trail Walker because it'll be Buffalo Stampede 100, which has over 5,000 metres vert.
Yes. So out of the pan into the fire, basically.
Yes,
we are starting with a bang.
Yeah. Yes.
So if we can get through this, I think we'll be well.
If I can because then I was just looking at the cutoffs, which were confusing to say the least. So I will clarify all of that, and then, but I know how to push myself. In spite of not having huge fitness at the moment, I'm still. There's muscle memory there.
Yeah. And the point of this challenge is not to try and win every race.
No,
the challenge of completing the races.
Yeah, I
just want something that Isobel has struggled with, and we've spoken about this. Me coming from I've never been at the pointy end of a race, so I'm just happy to finish it strongly, in my own way. And whereas Isobel has always been at the pointy end of these races in the past. She has to get it's as much a mental challenge for her in getting around the fact that she's actually just doing it to complete it rather than to compete.
But I think I will find it less challenging because I'm doing so many, and I know, you know, you've got to be account for the fact that you're doing so many.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's fine, but so that is the goal, completion.
Yep.
So obviously still have to hit cutoffs and all that sort of stuff. I'm hoping that won't be too much of an issue. It's funny because, I've said this to Ron before. A lot of the races I look at now, I didn't know there were even cutoffs. I just would go to the race. I'd never even look at the cutoffs. I didn't know there was such a thing.
Yeah.
And I just entered races and did them without knowing that there were cutoffs.
That was one of the, we spoke about that before we swept Oscars, and we were talking about cutoffs in various spots as a sweeper that we need to, work with the runners to make sure that they, get through each spot under cutoff. And Isobel mentioned that, until recently, she didn't even realise that races really had cutoffs. Like what do they do? What do they do with the runner after if they're cut off?
And the thing is, I've done races without knowing there's cutoffs, but now that I know there's cutoffs, I freak out. So anyway,
it's a whole new world for us.
It's a whole new world. But and that's what I said to you is I think sometimes knowing the cutoffs and knowing there is cutoffs actually makes you worse at beating them because you stress so much about it, you waste so much energy.
Yeah.
And I think me not knowing them because I don't know. I just think not knowing them sometimes is kind of a bit of a, what is it? Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
It was like the same. I didn't used to go onto the websites much. I didn't want to look at who was racing and I didn't want to know. I just wanted to do my own race. And I always did that. I didn't want to know other than the course, clearly.
Yeah.
And I would just go out and do my own race. And that's how I did well.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to put pressure on myself. And that's probably why I didn't know there were cutoffs, because all I looked at was a course and that was it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So all I do remember when I first did UTA, I looked at the cutoffs for silver buckle and those sorts of things. Yeah. That was the only thing I looked at. But I didn't realise, that there were cutoffs. And I thought, you paid your money, you goddamn got to finish the bloody race. That's a bit shit otherwise. Isn't it?
Well, you can't have people out there for 48 hours.
No. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. I just never really thought of it from any perspective other than my own, which I don't know. I think maybe I was just a little naive when I started running.
Yeah.
I don't know. So anyway, sorry, blocked ears. So we've got another computer there that we're
we are. We do
looking at the races
on my computer. So
we've got March Trail Walker. A week later, Buffalo Stampede 100 because we need something tough.
Yes.
So next week we might have to hit some hills because I might do some last minute hill training.
Because that works.
Every time, just like cramp. Well, to be fair, at uni, I was one of the top students and I did every single assignment the night before. And I beat everyone who was doing them 3 months before because I do my best work under pressure. I'll keep telling myself that. That was 100 years ago and it was schoolwork. But I'm sure this will apply the same.
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yes. So anyway, so what come
next after that is Wilson's Prom
May.
May.
6th of May, because we're trying to stick to as many Victorian as possible.
Yeah.
A, to support Victorian race directors. B, to minimise the amount of travel we have to do because, I've got to enter all these races. They ain't cheap. And we've got to have accommodation and we've got to travel and, do all of that.
For some silly reason, my work actually likes me to be there. So we can't go, taking, time off to travel every month.
And although I do the coaching, I can't, I need to be cognizant when I'm doing the coaching and I also do relief teaching. And when I don't work, I don't get paid.
That's right. Yes, that is the bottom line.
You don't go to work, you get paid.
Yeah.
I don't work, I don't get paid.
Yeah.
So I got to kind of try and navigate that minefield.
Yeah.
So, which, that's fine. That's what credit cards are for, as
Yeah,
I always
absolutely.
say.
So we'll be heading down to Wilson's Prom, where Isobel will do the 100 there.
So that gives me a month,
Yeah.
approximately.
Yep, it's
6 months.
It is exactly 5 weeks from Stampede. So after she starts with a bang, then she can actually start training.
Yes, that's right. I can train for recover, train, then taper.
Yep.
And there won't be a lot of tapering going on.
No, because it's not like she'll be preparing for one specific race, then tapering.
But what I will be doing is recording kind of recovery methods and what works. And this is what I want it to be, is a kind of I don't even know what the word is I'm looking for. Maybe I shouldn't drink wine when I do a podcast. Is a kind of a
diary of the journey.
Yeah, we want to do
what it takes to
to be able to do this to help the body recover, because 50-year-olds do not recover as well as 20 to 30-year-olds. What's going to help with the recovery, how I navigate that whole recovery minefield, how I navigate training within the recovery, because you still got to train. You can't just do the 100K races and rest the entire time in between. So it's going to be a lot of, interesting stuff to figure out and find out, which I think A, will benefit my coaching. B, will just be interesting. I think it'll be really, really interesting. We're going to do a lot of video footage and all that sort of stuff. Yep.
So after Wilson's Prom, then we're going to do in June.
May, June.
Yep. In June, we're going to do the Princess Park Ultra.
Yes.
Which is,
when we say me.
Well, yes, which is a loop course. It's I don't know exactly. It might be like a 4K loop.
As you can see, we've looked into these races deeply.
I know the track.
I've run heaps.
I don't know how far it is. I can't remember.
I did my half marathon PB there of 1:29.
So it's a mini looped course of a park, basically.
Yeah. So and we thought that's a good one because it's not all big hills and big climbs. So a bit easier to recover from, although to be fair, flat's bloody hard too and horrible. I'll just be, doing
lots of aid, you'll see me every
that's
couple
right.
of Ks, and I'm
and once again in Victoria, not too far to go. We can drive home at the end.
Princess Park is pretty much in the centre of Melbourne.
So Prom is running wild. Paul Ashton has awesome races. Then we've got Princess Park, which is Trails Plus, Brett Thaxton. Once again, he has such an awesome array of races, which lots of my clients do.
Types,
he has, great. Both of them do. I love both. They're different, but I love both of them. Right. So, and this is what I said. I want us to support Victorian race directors. We've all been through a shit time with COVID, especially all small businesses have particularly. It has not been not been easy for any small business, and I am a small business. So we want to support local businesses. So that's that. So that's June. Then July, you're going to join me.
Yes, July will be another one that I will do with Isobel, which is the Ultra Adelaide. Now, last year we did the 50K. We absolutely loved it. We had a ball.
And Sean Kessler, once again, great guy.
Kessler puts on some great races. Great guy. And the Ultra Adelaide, spends most of its time in the Adelaide Hills, which are, no one complains about it. It's, anytime anyone's running the Adelaide Hills, they rave about it. So, that'll be a great race to.
You really, because you'd never run in the Adelaide Hills. I have a few times.
Yeah.
And before the 50K, Ron had never run there, and he's like, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I said, and so Ron will run that one with me. And like we said, Sean Kessler, great race director, great races, and it's once again local race.
Finishes in the city of Adelaide, which is which is fantastic.
Yeah. So and then we start to get a little bit interesting and exciting.
Then we had already before we came up with the challenge. We'd already planned to travel to Europe,
which was part of the reason why I wanted to do Tour de Géant. It gave me an excuse to go to Europe. I like to go to Europe. I haven't been there since 2016. I have family over there.
Yep.
I have lots of friends over there. My mother was German, and I have my cousins over there, an aunt. And like I said, lots of friends. When I was 16, I went over there and went to school, and so we went to Canada last year to catch up with all my friends there. Now we're going to be going to Europe,
specifically Germany, but obviously Europe being Europe, everything's
nice and close. And I want to take Ron to see Paris. He's never been there. I've been there 300 times. I've got friends in wherever, Denmark and those sorts of things. And
my daughter.
That's your daughter in Denmark.
Yes.
I'm thinking of Kat. Anyway,
that's Belgium.
Thank you.
Yes.
I knew there was Denmark for a reason, but it was your daughter. Yes. Yeah, Kat's in Belgium. And we want to see my family, So that's what I want to do, and that's why we're going to Europe. It's not just to travel. It's because I really feel I need to do that. I wasn't able to do that during COVID. So we're going there. So we've picked some races.
Yes, we've had a look, and a couple of different races have jumped out at us.
Yeah.
The first one being the Swiss Alps 100. Now I've been very clear with Isobel. She can have this race all to herself.
Because it is 100 Ks with over 6,000 metres climbing.
Being in the Alps, there's no easy...
No, oh my God.
Running on this one.
But the thing is, there are some, what are those bridges called?
Suspension bridges.
Oh my God, there's two really huge ones, which I'm going to shit myself.
She might need someone to hold her hand across those.
I'll have to find someone... I am very scared of heights.
Yes.
But I'm sure I'll manage as long as nobody double bounces me. So I just won't look.
So the Swiss Alps
it looks stunning.
Yeah, it does. The photos we've seen look like it'll be a very epic.
Yeah, so
that's very nice run.
Approximately the 12th of August, was it?
That one is the 11th. The 11th of August.
Yeah, I think it said 11th till 12th. So, and that's a 27-hour cutoff. So 2 hours longer than Buffalo Stampede, but 1,000 meters more climbing.
Yeah.
So, and it's approximately the same as CCC, which I did in 22 hours. I have to, which CCC was an absolute debacle for me. I didn't have any water on me because it turned out my bladder was moldy and I couldn't drink it. It made me sick, and it was like 30 degrees.
This is a major lesson in race planning.
Oh my God, it was
what not to do.
Terrible. I did the first 25 Ks with no water in the full sun in 30-degree heat. And then when I got to the first, it wasn't even a full aid station. And I grabbed the bottle of water off the guy and was drinking, and he got a bit cross with me because he told me I had to save some water for other people. And then there were no drop bags allowed, which I only found out because once again, didn't do my due diligence. There were no drop bags allowed, which I didn't find out until like the last minute. And I didn't have a crew because I went there with my 16-year-old daughter. So I had no food for like half the race. I sucked on a ginger lolly that someone had given me the day before and sucked on that for like the last 10 hours. So all I'm saying is hopefully this one will go better.
Yes, that's right.
And so if I did that under those circumstances in 22 hours.
Yes, so while I won't be running it, I'll be crewing it for her. So she should have a much better time.
Way better. It'll be nice. I won't have to sit at the aid stations crying, which I did at CCC at every aid station. I sat and cried for a little bit, and then I got up and kept going because I couldn't even DNF because there was no one to pick me up. I had to finish. It was the only way to get back. And even then when I finished, I had to walk back to the accommodation a few kilometres. So that will not be happening this time. We're going to get a hire car so you can drive. It's going to be awesome. So that's that. And then the next race is approximately a month later.
Oh dear. Oh, sorry. I'm looking at the wrong maths. So the next race, approximately.
Is the Wienerwald.
It will be in Austria.
Yep. So once again, we're trying to choose ones that are close to Germany, so we don't have to,
So basically, the two races will bookend our holiday.
Yeah. And so the Wienerwald is in Austria, and it's approximately 100 Ks or so. I can't remember exactly. it's only €100 to enter, which was super cheap.
And that is a race that I will be doing.
Yes, because it's on the 16th of September, which is the day after my birthday. So as a birthday run, we will run together for that. Yeah. So
and that one is not in the Alps. So
no, it's about 3,000 meters.
Which is a pretty good mark for 100 Ks.
That's good enough. Yeah, absolutely. So that's August and September taken care of.
Yes. So when we get home, we'll have a chance to recover and catch up on our sleep. And then October comes along and we're looking at the Human Hovel Ultra, which is in New South Wales.
Now, we were thinking go, but Ron, before COVID, would always sweep go.
Yeah.
And I've done go before. And to be honest, I said to Ron, I don't think I want to run it again and see. Like my time when I ran, it was 11:40 or something. I don't think I could handle seeing that horrendous time.
The comparison,
the shame. So I don't want to do it again for that reason, because
Yep.
And I want to be able to sweep it with Ron.
The race director is a friend of mine, and I've always when it's been on, because it hasn't been on for the last couple of years, but when it's been on, I've swept it in recent times. So that's the plan. So Human Hovel it is. Yep.
And what was it, a Human Hovel? I think it's a bit more flat too.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's more in the flatlands of New South Wales.
Yeah. So, but
obviously that's a long way away, so we don't need to research that too much until we get a bit closer.
And what date exactly is that?
That is the 7th of October.
Okay, so we'll go from the 16th of September.
About 3 weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks with some bit of jet lag in there too.
Yeah.
Happy days. So that's October.
Now November, we're not sure about. We'd be happy to hear people's input.
So we haven't got anything.
We've got one down, but it's in WA, and we've got another one in a couple of months after that in WA.
We have to do WA.
So we don't really want to have to go to WA twice. So if anyone has any ideas for November, we would be very happy to hear them.
Checking, because someone. When was that? I think it was September. I don't know.
Yeah. So October so far, we've got one for October, but it's a lot of travel. After we've been to Europe, it's going to be a lot of travel to get across.
My credit card might be a bit battered and bruised.
Yep. So if you've got one on the east coast of Australia, would be much.
Yeah. So anyone could let us know of 100K that we could do for November. That would be awesome.
Yep.
Then December,
we thought we might tackle the Ultra Trail Kosciuszko.
And you thought you would do this one with me?
Yeah. Once again, it's a new event, but we know we've seen done last year. It was done last year. We saw some people that had done it, and we heard some pretty. A couple
of my clients did the 100K and the miler,
and thought it was a great course in a great area. Obviously, Kosciuszko, we were up there.
Beautiful spot.
In December of last year. At the start of December last year, for don't tell me you've forgotten that. No. So it would be nice to be up there again, but in that not so punishing way.
Yes, well, I'm sure it still will be. But it actually, even though it's up at Cosy, it's not that much climbing.
Yeah, that's right. So that's the race that we're looking at so far for December.
Then January is the Western, because there were
not many options in January. They're not. January being summer in Australia, there are not many races on. It tends to be a little bit warm to do 100 Ks in Australia in January.
Yeah.
So the one we did see was the Australia Day Ultra in WA.
Yeah.
So that might be our only option.
Well, it is our only option.
Yeah.
Unless someone suggests
once again,
I would like to go to Western Australia for one of them, because I've neither have you?
No.
Neither of us have been to Western Australia.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to go to Western Australia. So that's fine. I want to go to Western Australia. I just don't want to have to go twice, because it is pretty expensive.
It's a long way and it's pretty expensive.
Yeah. So It's not that, and the one in November is the Feral Pig Ultra, which, to be honest, I would love to do. So if there's another one for January, that would be probably good if there was one on the East Coast, but we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Then all we have left is February.
It's February, yes. Big finish in February. And of course, if you're in Victoria, the premier 100K race in Victoria is Oscar's Hut to Hut. Now, those of us that know us know that we have quite an affinity with Oscars. I personally have helped organise it, but also this year, Isobel and I swept.
And 2 years ago, I swept the 50 while you were helping
that's right.
other stuff.
2 years ago, Isobel swept the arching course.
Yeah. So, we had already talked about it before I came up with this challenge, that you wanted to do it anyway.
Initially we'd spoken about it because obviously Oscars has a teams event where 2 people do it.
That's when they camp overnight. We don't.
But you can do either.
Oh, okay.
You can do it in one day if you want.
Okay.
As a team, you can do it in 1, 2, or 3 days.
Because this 100K challenge, I don't want to be sleeping overnight. I want to, push through. And I'm hoping by then I'll be super duper fit.
Yeah. Well, if you're not super,
if I'm not fit, I'll be super duper injured.
Months. That's right. So Oscar's Hut to Hut is, I think, a fantastic way to finish the challenge.
Yeah,
it's a tough race. It's a
really
awesome
tough race. Atmosphere. So I think that would be a
fantastic
great
atmosphere. And so many of our friends are there. Whether they're competing, whether they're organising, whether they're volunteering. When we were up there the other week, we knew so many people, and it was just a great to be up and around it. So I think that would be a great way to finish the challenge.
Although I did say to Ron that, if there was lightning, they would have to prise my poles out of my cold, dead hands. Because I would not be giving them up under any circumstances. But we'll see. Hopefully this will be the year where they don't have to do that. So yes, that is my 12 in 12 challenge.
Yes.
And we will do podcasts on a regular about it. Obviously not every week, but we'll let you know how things go. It's certainly after Trail Walker and Buffalo. We'll definitely be letting you know how that all goes. Yep. Exciting times. It's going to be fun, and it's a good challenge. Like I said, it's it's not. I'm not going to be competitive on the races. That's fine. I'm not anyway. But I want to see how I can really nail the recovery and nail doing big races that frequently. Yeah. Because, I certainly would not recommend this for my clients if they wanted to do well at each race.
It's not the way to get the best out of yourself in each race.
Absolutely.
But that's not what it's about.
That's not what it's about. Mm. So it's about the challenge of finishing each race.
And then preparing for the next one.
Yeah. So, and that's a real knife edge to navigate. So that is what the plan is. Yep. And like we said, Ron will join me for some races. Ron will be crewing for most races,
Certainly if I'm not joining her, then I'll be crewing.
Yeah. So it's all going to be good and fun and a challenge. So
most definitely.
Yeah, so I hope you enjoy following us on our 12 and 12 journey. It's going to be a year of interesting year.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So excellent. All right. Well, that's it. We finished the wine.
Finished our wine. So
that must be the end of the podcast. Thank you for joining us. As always, please rate, review, and subscribe. You can do it on Spotify. You just go into the pod. There's 3 little dots up in the right-hand corner. Click on them, and that's how you can review and rate and that sort of stuff. So please do that. I would love it, greatly appreciate it. Of course, on Apple Podcasts, it's even easier. Do that. It shouldn't take too long, but it really ups the podcast in the standards so that they show it to more people, and therefore more people can see it. So that would be great if you could do that. Don't forget to support health and high performance in Monte Albert. If you've got any niggles, see Luke. Peak Chocolate, peakchocolate.com. Get 15% off with Isobel Ross on the as your code. And whatever you are doing, have a great time running and racing, or whether it's on the trails or the roads, just being out there. Don't forget when you are running to say hi to people that are running towards you.
That's right.
Or running past you.
We spent a lovely day out on the peninsula today, coming back up through into Red Hill. We started and finished in Red Hill. There were so many people out on the trail, and there were lots of people, saying hi as we ran past.
There were a few people who,
few people look at you, and then just as you're about to say hi, they look away.
And you know what? It's really sad when people don't say hi. It's really actually a little bit upsetting. So say hi.
Make sure you say hi. It doesn't take anything away from your life.
Positivity.
It adds to your life when people say hi back.
Yeah, it really does. So don't be that person.
Yeah.
Be the good person.
That's right.
All right. Spread some love and positivity in the world. God knows it needs it.
Mm-hmm.
So, all righty. Have fun. Thanks for joining us once again. We love your company. I hope you love ours. Well, you do because you're listening. Next week, I have an interview. I know I said it was going to be this week, but, things change. And I wanted to tell you about this first. So this is the interview next week, which will be part of my recovery protocol, Flex Beam. So listen into that. Anyway, have a great rest of your week, and we'll catch you next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.